My friends call me Dave. Are we going to be friends?
I'm not sure.
So, how does this work? What's supposed to happen here?
It is different for every young prospect who comes to see me. In your case, you will have a choice to make. You show great promise. You are a fierce competitor. You will probably not linger for long in the minors.
What's the choice?
Dave Stieb, do you wish for a promise of greatness or a promise of recognition?
Don't the two go together? Can't I have both?
No. It wouldn't be a choice if you could have both.
Can I think about it for a while?
No.
All right then. Let's go with greatness.
Very well. Toronto it is.
Toronto? Do they even play baseball up there?
They just started. They're not very good. Had you chosen recognition, I would have sent you to New York. But in Toronto, you will have a chance to shine. Although it's unlikely that your star's shine will be bright enough to attract the attention of the media south of the border.
Is it too late to change my decision, Oracle?
Yes, Dave, it is. Before I vanish, I have a piece of advice for you. Grow a mustache. With that facial structure, it will be dynamite.
I'm not sure what to say to that. Thanks, I guess, Oracle of Bases.
Oh, and Dave, one more thing. Forget about hitting. You will be a great pitcher.
What? A strange thing happened as a couple Blue Jays executives were wrapping up a scouting visit to Southern Illinois University in the summer of 1978. They'd come to see a promising young outfielder named Dave Stieb. They weren't impressed by his swing. But as they were about to leave, in between the 5th and the 6th innings, Stieb ran to the mound for his second ever appearance as a relief pitcher. The scouts stuck around for a laugh. Quote, "Stieb knocked our eyes out. He was absolutely overpowering. We didn't like him as a hitter, but he sure as hell opened our eyes when he started pitching." The next year, Stieb rose quickly through the Blue Jays minor league system. Within months, he was pitching in the big leagues. And right away, he was good. By his second season, he made the All-Star team.
From the Toronto Blue Jays, pitcher Dave Stieb.
And in his third year, in 1981, he was an All-Star again. Modern statistics suggest that he was one of the best pitchers in baseball, but his record was a good, not great, 11-10. The Blue Jays sometimes played in the snow. Their hitters were beyond brutal. In 81, their best hitter hit .248, finishing 60th in the league. But most importantly for Dave, they got no attention at all. Heading into the 1982 season, Stieb felt ready to be one of the great pitchers in the game. But he was restless. Oracle?
David! Most people only come to see me once. How interesting that you chose to come again.
Oracle, I've become a great pitcher, and it sucks. I line up the batters and knock them down like bowling pins, like ducks in a row. They can't handle what I throw. And nobody cares. I was an all-star, and I got exactly 0 stares of admiration during the game. My mustache is gleaming, and my slider is deadly. You know what they say about me? They say nothing. My team is terrible. I'm wasting away up in a place where I sometimes pitch in the snow. I could be the greatest pitcher in the world, and they wouldn't notice a thing. How am I supposed to reach the Hall of Fame one day if nobody even hears what my pitches say?
I understand your frustration, young Dave. But remember that when you stepped out of the secret cave, you had chosen greatness, not recognition. Perhaps you'll have to get used to your current condition.
So that's it? I can't get into the Hall of Fame because I chose greatness?
You don't entirely control this fate, young Dave.
But why not? I'm the one pitching. If I'm a great pitcher, why wouldn't I be in the Hall of Fame someday?
We live in times of superstition. There will come a time when the wizards with numbers and spreadsheets rule the land. But that time is not yet upon us. What matters for now are wins and losses. And wins you must get somehow.
But I don't control wins and losses, Oracle. All I control is whether or not the batters get hits.
Now there you may have stumbled upon something, young man. You must find a thing that depends not at all on the way that your teammates can't quite hit the ball. Let your teammates make errors. You can walk batters, you can even hit them if you need to. Reach for the no-hitter, Dave. And the pundits down south who don't know your name might open their mouths. They might watch your games.
Now at least I know the quest that I have whenever I throw. Stieb had thrown a 3-hitter in 1980 and another 3-hitter in 1981. With his quest clearly in focus, he flourished. He won no awards that year, but for anybody looking back at the pitching results of 1982, Dave Stieb looks to be the best pitcher in baseball. He threw a 2-hitter that year, twice. Then in 1983, he threw 3 3-hitters. Then in 1985, the Blue Jays finally became a powerful team. And came within a single game of the World Series. Stieb was dominant in his Game 1 playoff debut.
And yet the one-loss record, just 14-13. And the story for Stieb through the years has been, he seems to pitch better, statistically better than his record.
And Stieb flirted with his quest one night in Chicago. First 3, and then 6, and then 9, and then 12. Stieb slayed them like dragons, too slow for the elves. Then 15, then 18, then 21 down. And now Stieb was 6 outs from claiming his crown. Then 22, 23, and then 24. 8 innings, no hits. How about just one more? For 24 men, Sir Stieb was too much. And so what would happen when, now in the clutch, just 3 noble swingers would come to the plate and see if their destiny would be to ruin Stieb's fate? But alas, in the 9th, with the first batter's swing, a home run was crushed over the fence, which would bring Dave Stieb's brilliant quest for a game without hits right back down to earth, like the Jays in the pits. Those towering shots in the 9th, back-to-back, they crippled young Stieb. He absorbed such a smack that into dark ages and despair did he fall. He hadn't the strength to outlast them all. And with this, the most difficult chapter of a bright young career is just what came after.
Young Master David, I see that you and your Bluebirds flirted with greatness this season. Well done.
I came so close, Oracle. I didn't think I'd been, but I had nothing left in the tank. I'm not here to thank you for the quest you gave me. I'm here to ask you for advice. I didn't think twice before accepting it. Maybe you gave it in jest, this quest?
Dear, I promise it was no joke, the quest of which I spoke, but you must remember that when, like leaves in September, your pitches start falling too quickly, and when your arm starts feeling weak and sickly, remember that the batters don't tire. They're just waiting for the show, and the hardest pitch will always be the last one you throw.
Oracle, my confidence is shaken, my appetite's broken. How can I handle this mess that you've made? I've accepted a quest that feels like a grenade that I can't throw away, even though you've pulled the pin. Now it feels impossible to pitch and to win. Do you really have no advice? No advice at all?
No.
Well, thanks for nothing. Oracle, there's something wrong. It's my arm. It doesn't feel right.
David, greatness doesn't preclude struggle. I'll say it again. Remember that the toughest pitch that you'll throw is always the last one. Deeper into the 9th inning is where you must go.
In 1982, Dave Stieb threw 19 complete games. 5 of them were shutouts. In 1986, he threw 1 complete game and pitched 1 shutout. Stieb had come close to a no-hitter, and the Jays had come close to the World Series. Now both quests seemed absurd. Stieb's mechanics were a mess. 1987 was better than 1986, but Stieb was still searching for his form. in his form as what he found in 1988. His stats were spectacular, and his slider was deadly once again. On September 30th, against the Baltimore Orioles, like he had done before, Stieb made it through 24 batters without giving up a hit, and this time his arm was on fire when he came out for the ninth. His slider was dipping, and his fastball was brisk. The first batter hit a weak ground ball to first base. 2 outs to go. Then the second batter hit a weak ground ball to first base. 1 out to go. Then Stieb got 2 strikes on Joe Orsulak and was 1 strike away from a no-hitter. Finally. And this was too much for Dave Stieb. It was too much because a week earlier, on September 24th against Cleveland, like he had done before, Stieb made it through 24 batters without giving up a hit. And this time, his arm was on fire when he came out for the ninth. His slider was dipping and his fastball was brisk. He struck out the first batter. The second batter hit an easy ground ball. The third batter hit an easy ground ball.
Dave Stieb again. I see you continue to come close. Close to pitching with the perfect dose, enough to find yourself among the greats. Although the hour was...
Cut it, Oracle. Your quest for no-hitters has been a great drain. It might be enough to make me insane. In fact, just right now, I think I might be so nuts that I'll promise you something to see. My own quest entirely. I'll take my great destiny and I'll make it bend. I'll go even further. No hits for the gods. But for me, no walks and no balks. And no errors despite the odds. So forget your no-hitter. Perfect's what I'll be. You just wait and see. After defying the Oracle, Dave was dominant. In his second start of the season on April 10th against the Yankees, he allowed no hits in the first or the ninth, the second or the eighth, the third or the seventh, the fourth or the sixth innings. In the fifth inning, Jamie Quirk, a catcher whose output that season for the Yankees totaled 2 base hits, managed to bloop a single to center field. This was Stieb's third one-hitter pitched in 4 starts going back to the previous season. Flirting with a no-hitter in New York was an insult to the Yankees. Nobody had thrown a no-hitter against them in 32 years. And since their founding in 1901, a perfect game had never been thrown against the Yankees of New York. They came to Toronto that summer for revenge. But baseball in Toronto wasn't what it used to be. Gone were the days of playing in a windswept tundra in front of a half-empty stadium with a half-baked lineup. The Jays were now playing in the most expensive stadium built in the history of sports. They were becoming a dynasty. The Yankees' plans for revenge didn't go well. Steve Sachs lined out, Luis Polonia grounded out, Don Mattingly lined out, and that was 1. Mel Hall struck out swinging, Jesse Barfield struck out swinging, Bob Guerin grounded out, and that was 2. Randy Velarde struck out, Alvaro Espinoza grounded out, Roberto Kelly struck out, and that was 3. Then Steve Sachs grounded out again, Luis Polonia lined out to shortstop, Don Mattingly lined out to left field, and that was 4. Mel Hall grounds out, Jesse Barfield grounds out, Bob Guerin strikes out, and that's 5. Velarde grounds out, Espinoza strikes out, Roberto Kelly strikes out, and that's 6 innings. Steve Sachs flied out, Luis Polonia grounded out, Don Mattingly grounded out, and that was 7. Then Mel Hall struck out, Jesse Barfield struck out, Bob Guerin grounded out, and that was 8 innings of perfect baseball. 3 more batters. Hal Morris, a weak pinch hitter, Ken Phelps, a weak pinch hitter, and Roberto Kelly, a promising young player.
Destiny lurking right around the corner. Yankees going to send up some pinch hitters. Hal Morris, number 1, will bat for Randy Velarde. 4 men in a row without the semblance of a base hit. There have been no spectacular plays behind Stieb. That's how overpowering he's been. And on artificial surface, to pitch the kind of game he has pitched, it's unbelievable. All right, this is it. 2-0, the Blue Jays lead. We're in the top of the 9th inning. Strike one. Uncanny control of that breaking pitch all night. Low, 1-1. This crowd wants everything. Can't blame them. Right. Ooh. Little undecided as to whether to swing at that. He was a little late on the break pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pulled it foul, got a little bit too much inside. So we told you how many times Stieb has come so close. He's got to be throwing a little harder now. He's got to try and put a little extra on every pitch. 4 career 1-hitters. And you know that's got to be in the back of his mind. And you know his players are so tight out there. They don't want to make any mistakes. Outfield playing very shallow. Struck him out. Holy cow. 1 down, 2 to go. And now Ken Phelps will bat for Alvaro Espinosa. Boy, they sure are getting their money's worth, I'll tell you that. 48,789 here. And I bet you nobody's turned their TV sets off tonight. Unbelievable. You wouldn't think a 2-0 game could be such a cliffhanger. I'm starting to lose my voice already, and there's still 2 outs to go here. All right, Phelps hitting .252. 4 homers. 21 RBIs. Strike one. I tell you, everything's automatic with this guy. Unbelievable. Check that ball. He's throwing pitches that are exploding. Cito Gas and everybody holding their breath. Watch this thing break down. Oh, like a magnet was pulling it down. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's about the widest he's thrown a pitch tonight. Everything else has been right around the plate. What makes him so tough? A lot of those sliders are not strikes, but they've been so close they swing at him. Roberto Kelly, who has been up twice, struck out both times. And they're standing now. I tell you, because the crowd will let you know exactly. Well, look at this. Tremendous. Tremendous crowd. A perfect game with 1 out to go. Just missed ball 1. They're booing the umpire even on a called ball. balls, no strikes. Roberto can have the luxury of a guess here on a fastball with a 2-0 count. Hasn't thrown many of them tonight. Holy cow, he broke it up with 2 outs, and he's going for second. He's going to make it. I don't believe it. Unbelievable. Standing ovation anyway, and he deserves it.
Oracle.
Dave.
So this is what I get for defying you.
Can you be more specific?
It was you, wasn't it? You pushed that ball into the groove between the grass and the sand, so it hopped over Manny's head and got past his outstretched hand. You placed a distracting thought in Fred McGriff's mind so that he reacted just a half second too slowly to catch that ball over first. You put fire in Roberto Kelly's bat so that my perfect game could never be.
Dave, I had nothing to do with the grass, and the ball, and the sand. I had nothing to do with Fred McGriff's outstretched hand. But I'll tell the truth. It was I, the one guiding Roberto's bat. There was no way he could hit you on a pitch like that. But you defied me, and that was never part of the deal. Now it's up to you to see what might be real.
Oracle, my time is passing, not many games remain, and it seems I've only got myself to blame. For hubris in making mine this impossible quest. Maybe it stopped me from pitching my best. My Blue Jays are strong now, no matter what I throw. There are too many yeses, and a total absence of no.
Your quest, older Dave, to honor the no, has led you to put on quite a dazzling show. Go now. Forget your obsessive quest. And before you do take your great final rest, forget this target at which you've been shooting. Find dreams with your team that might be worth pursuing.
I guess this is goodbye, Oracle.
Goodbye, Dave.
So Dave Stieb tried to settle down, to enjoy his final seasons of pitching in his prime.
There's nothing really in-depth about this year for me. I'm just going to try and do what I did last year, but a little better.
His slider was now a thing of legend,
See ya! Oh my God, what a pitch!
and so was his mustache. And as for his team, well, the Blue Jays were now very, very good. As he got used to winning, Dave tried hard to forget the Oracle of Bases, his impossible quest, his curse, his words, the strangely reassuring austerity. But he couldn't. He had to move on. What else was there to do? Stieb wasn't pitching well heading into a game on September 2nd against the Indians. He was struggling with his mechanics.
Galen Cisco, Dave Stieb is coming off a loss. What did he do wrong in that game?
I don't think his breaking ball was quite as sharp.
The thing that Stieb is really concentrating on today is his release point. He said he's been laying the ball out a little bit too far, not getting on top. When he does that, he doesn't get the movement that he wants on the fastball, and he gets more of a roll on the breaking ball instead of the sharp biter.
Steve's first pitch to Cole is well outside. His next pitch is way inside. Then a pitch that looks like a low ball is called for a strike. Then he's way outside, and way outside again. And in 5 pitches, Stieb has just walked one of the fastest men in baseball.
Dave Stieb certainly didn't want to start the game by walking Cole.
Things don't get much better with the next batter.
Jerry Brown's going to try to be patient here because he wants to make Dave Stieb work. He just walked the leadoff man. He hasn't shown real good control.
When his first pitch to Brown is well inside, Stieb is now sitting on 5 balls, 1 strike that looked like a ball, and a release point that's nowhere to be found. So he decides to take a break. And while Jerry Brown picks his nose, Stieb makes a decision. He's not going to worry about Brown. He's done with pitching for a while. Instead, he's going to pick off Alex Cole on first base. And he almost does. Then he almost does again. And on his third try, Dave Stieb definitely picks off Cole. But the umpire misses it. A 4th attempt doesn't come very close. But on his 5th attempt, Stieb picks him off again. And the ump misses it again. Stieb hasn't thrown a pitch in almost 3 minutes, but he's just thrown 5 consecutive strikes to first. Now he's angry. The Jays announcers don't think Cole will steal.
They'd be surprised, too, if Cole takes off. Now, he could, but when a pitcher's struggling, if you take off, all of a sudden the catcher nails you at second base, the momentum changes.
But after Steve's next pitch is way inside, Cole decides he can't resist. And for the first but not the last time on this afternoon in Cleveland, Pat Borders saves the day.
There we go. Should have him.
It's a sketchy call at second base, but it means that now Dave Stieb can resume the search for his release point. Stieb continues to struggle, but manages to get Jerry Brown to fly out. And Deion James to ground out to end the inning. Ken Phelps pops up. And then Brooks Jacoby flies out. And it almost looks like Stieb has settled down. But then he loses control completely against Carlos Baerga, walks him, and is furious with himself. And yet again, as Stieb wrestles with his emotions as much as his pitches, he knows who to count on. And that, my friends, is when Dave Stieb found his release point.
Brookins and Skinner are 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. And if Stieb makes the pitch he wants, it'll be 0 for 6. He has struck out the side. Second inning in this game. Don't go. Stieb has a no-hitter going.
fourth time in his magnificent career that Stieb has taken a no-hitter into the ninth inning. The second time here in Cleveland.
You know, I look back at this ball game, and there really hasn't been a tough play. Most of the outs have been routine variety.
Cleveland isn't contending for the postseason, so some of their starters have been on the bench. But for the ninth, they bring out their big bats. Leading off is one of their best all-around hitters.
Chris James hitting for Tom Brookins. Ball one.
And James, normally the everyday player, a 300 hitter.
A ball and a strike to him.
The hitters coming off the bench, they're fresh. They've been watching him the entire game.
James into left field. Tracking over is Glenn Allen Hill. There is room. There's the out. One gone.
Pressure on everybody. The defense, the infielders, the outfielders.
There is pressure on everybody in Blue Jay colors right here.
Next up is a slugger familiar to Jays fans.
Here is the power of Candy Maldonado, a 76 RBI man for the Indians. He takes a swing at strike one. Maldonado hitting for the catcher, Joel Skinner. 3-0 Toronto in Cleveland, up with the face of Maldonado.
Still hitting spot zone. Orders outside. Wanted the pitch there. Dave gave it to him. Steve Pat saying, keep it down.
And it chops it foul to go 2-2.
That's good to see Pat Borders back there taking charge in that manner. He's into this too. He's motioning to Dave, who you pointed out has had a few pitches up.
He's an out away. Maldonado on the 113th pitch thrown by Stieb becomes the second out.
Next up is Alex Cole. Stieb pitches around him again. But walking Cole isn't tragic. Fred McGriff has hit 2 home runs, and with Stieb's cushion, he won't have to worry about picking off Cole. And on the way to a crucial chat with Pat Borders, Stieb hears somebody over the crowd noise. He recognizes the voice, but can't believe what he's hearing. On the way back to the mound, he strains to hear it again just to be sure. And on the tail of the breeze, he can make out a single syllable.
Fortunately, the Blue Jays have enough of a lead. We talked about it before with Phelps at first base. Now Cole is at first, the speedster. But Fred McGriff, because the Jays have a 3-0 lead, is going to play back to fill up that hole with the lefty up there.
Ball one. Stieb in search of control at this critical juncture has thrown 5 balls in a row. Behind him, he needs 1 more out. Strike one, 1-1. Into right field.
no-hitter in the big leagues, and yeah, I think it would be very rewarding for every player on the field to be a part of that.
There you are with Steve, always on the edge.
1 out in the 9th inning.
In these situations, I don't mind having that kind of tough luck. I mean, if I can take every game in the 9th inning with a no-hitter, I know I'm going to win. So if the tough luck is losing the no-hitter, I'll take that tough luck.
Dave, you've had a sensational career with Toronto. This is a moment you'll never, ever forget.
That's right, Fergie, I won't.
And you've had 5 cracks at it. You got it. That many?
And what's the score?
5-4. Men in first and third. Steve has blown it.
We grew up in idyllic surroundings in rural Canada.
This is a beautiful creek, the Peace Creek, a very famous creek. Canadian National Junior Sprint Championships.
We were competitive.
7 seconds, 91 hundredths.
Very competitive. And we knew how to have fun. The miracle is that we were able to have fun and be very competitive and do both at the same time without being cruel.
Wait.
And we learned this from somebody in particular.
Okay, this is the official countdown. 5, 4, get out of the way, Dave.
Out of control. Completely out of control.
Our dad was athletic, but he couldn't throw a slider. He was handsome, but he didn't have a mustache and couldn't even grow one.
I got a big one! I got a big one, folks! And it's a beautiful night!
Our dad loved being our dad.
True love will find you in the end.
Most of our friends played hockey, but we never did.
8:30.
He just tied his record.
Almost every night, we would head to the backyard, play baseball until dark. Even without a slider, Dad could have thrown no-hitters against us every night, but he never did. He let the tall grass stay tall and carved a base path with our lawnmower. We played on a field of dreams, and it was haunted by a single ghost. Every now and then, never enough for us to get used to it, as we gripped an undersized, red-taped Louisville slugger like our lives depended on it, trembling with fear and thrilled anticipation. Every now and then, as we waited for one more carefully placed pitch down the middle that we hoped to smash over our brother's extended glove. Every now and then, the ghost would make an appearance. Maybe it was nothing more than the setting sun's shadows. But as Dad prepared to wind up, the faintest outline of a mustache would shade his upper lip. His hair seemed longer and lost some of its curls. And once he let it go, I promise you that ball dropped like a magnet was pulling it down.
True love will find you in the end. You'll find out just who was your friend. Don't be sad, I know you will. But don't give up until true love will find you in the end. This is a promise with a catch. Only if you're looking can it find you? 'Cause true love is searching too. But how can it recognize you unless you step out into the light, the light? Don't be sad, I know you will. But don't give up until true love will find you in the end.